So we're here with my mom, Clarice Blake Rakowski, and it's what is this? The last day of March of 2022, March 31st. Anyway, mom's told me a few times about the winter that the family spent at a place called House Brook. Mom, can you tell us how you guys ended up at House Brook?
Well, we were living in a house that was owned by the former Porter fur trading company out of New York, and they had surrendered their business, and the house was left empty, and we were renting it um, at the outrageous price of $3 a month.
And you told me before that you confirmed that price with grandmother, so for sure that was $3 a month,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And at that time, so you said we, so it would have been you, grandfather Blake, and just you and just grandma Blake, right? There's only three. Was John born at this point?
John was a baby.
John was a baby, so it was the two parents, yourself and John. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so you're renting this house in Northwest River from Porter Fur,
Yeah.
and what happened? What happened after that?
Well, we were blessed with an infestation of bed bugs. And the only way we had of getting rid of bed bugs in those days was to freeze them out. So we had to find a place to spend the winter so the house could be left cold and the bed bugs would freeze. So we ended up going to House Brook, where Grandfather Rich had a cabin or a tilt. Well, it was a cabin because it had two, I think, as if I remember right, two bedrooms, a kitchen area that led out into a porch where we stored wood.
Okay, and so this would have been roughly maybe in the winter of 1942, 1943, somewhere around there, right?
Well, it would have been, well, I was 3 years old at the time. So I was born in 39, so 39, 41, 42, 43. Winter 43, 44. 43, 44, yeah,
Yeah.
that would be right.
Okay. And so now Housebrook, because there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no homestead still there. There's nothing there at this point. So that would have been just up from Northwest River, correct?
Well, it was about 3 miles east of Butter and Snow,
Okay. Okay.
towards Mulligan Way, out towards Rigolette Way.
Okay. Now you relayed to me or told me a story once that you remember the night that you guys actually left the house, the Porter house in Northwest River, and made your way to House Brook. And do you remember that night? The night you guys arrived at the house at House Brook?
Well, I remember we went down there in a motorboat. A motorboat meaning it had an inboard motor with an Acadian engine, went tuk 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 tuk,
Yeah.
and every now and then it would backfire tuk.
Yeah.
And we got down to House Brook, and it was just getting dark. So this would be in the fall, before Grandpa went trapping.
So grandfather was there when you moved. So grandfather was there when you guys moved to House Brook.
Yeah,
So this must have been probably late August,
September.
early September at the latest.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we got to House Brook, and it's just getting dark, and I remember as clearly as day landing on the boat, landing on on the beach, and there was a monstrous big tree to the right of the boat, with this moon shining, full moon shining through the tree, and the darkness of the sky around it, and the owl hooting. somewhere in that area,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the most eerie sound you ever heard.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I remember the scene today like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very definitely paints a very vivid picture of the way you describe it, Mom.
Mm.
So you and Grandpa and Uncle John would have spent that winter there, and then in the spring you returned to the Porterhouse in Northwest River.
Yeah, but back up. We didn't. Grandpa didn't spend the winter there.
No, he was on trapline.
He left us once he got us established at the House Brook
Mm-hmm.
in the little cabin there. He went off to his trapping grounds
Okay. Okay.
for the winter, and he came back after Christmas sometime, probably sometime in January.
Okay. And at that point, by that point, if he came back in January, presumably the house that you had to let freeze up would have been frozen up long enough to get rid of the bed bugs at that point, or did you move back to Northwest
Yeah,
River?
yeah, we went back to Northwest River, and we went back by dog team. I don't know if Grandfather Rich came with a dog team and brought us up, or if Grandpa Blake had a dog team from somewhere and came
Mm-hmm.
up. I don't know where the dog team appeared from, but we had a dog team
Yeah.
that brought us back to Northwest River.
Okay.
And the other interesting thing I remember about the cabin is that where it was located was on the shores of Lake Melville, and we always called it the bay.
Mm-hmm.
Lake Melville was the bay to us, and it has brackish water, so we needed a source of fresh water, and there was a little brook running down by the cabin, just upstream a bit from us. And I remember going up there in wintertime with Aunt Dolly. And as you know, Aunt Dolly is what they call
Height challenged. Little person.
a little person.
Mm-hmm.
And we went up there with her, and she had an axe and always a gun. And in case a wolf or some other animal came out of the woods. And we went up there and chopped a hole in the ice and filled up a bucket with water and brought it back on a komatik.
Okay, so this was you getting water for the house at House
Yeah.
Brook?
And in the meantime, she had snares out too,
Mm-hmm.
rabbit snares. So sometimes we'd come back with a rabbit for the pot.
So Aunt Dolly stayed with you at that time as well?
Part of the time. I don't remember if it was all of the time or not, but part of the time.
So she lived with you and Cecil and Sylvia sometimes?
No, only for that winter.
Oh, okay. Only for that winter.
Yeah, and I think more than anything to keep Grandma company and give her a hand,
Mm-hmm.
because she had two small children. Don't me forget, I was 3, and John was still in diapers.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Okay.
and being out in the middle of nowhere with two small children is no small feat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good story, Mom. You're the only person I've ever heard tell of spending a winter in House Brook, and previous to today, I never heard any reference to the Porter Fur Trading Company. And so you said the Porter Fur Trading Company had a house. It was divided into two, and your family had half of that duplex, and another family had the other half.
Yeah, and I think the other family was George White. It seems to me his name was White, his last name, but George, I think, was his first name, but I couldn't swear to that.
Okay. Well, that's a great story, Mom. I'm glad you shared it, and there's so many stories like this that you've described to me over the years. I figured it's high time I started recording and writing them down and recording them, so that one day, if you're not here one day, if that ever happens, of course, then we have a way of hanging on to them. Thanks, Mom.
Welcome.